I love League of Legends! I love League of Legends!
Hi, my name is Marshall, and this is Waveform. Does League of Legends sound good? I promise I'll answer that question as best I can later, but first, let's chat a little bit. I've been playing games my whole life, but there's one game I've been playing for longer than any other, and for more hours than any other, and that's League. As a gamer, League of Legends is my favorite thing out there, but as a sound designer, well, it's complicated. There are things that I love about League sound design, but there are also things that I hate, which is why it's taken me months to finally get around to making this video. The best way I can think to illustrate the things that I don't like is with the listening challenge. Here's how the challenge works. First, I'm going to play 3 different sounds for you to remember, and then I'm going to play an audio clip from a real team fight in a game of League. Your job is to listen as closely as you can to the team fight and see if you hear any of these sounds I played for you. Ready? Here are the 3 sounds you're listening for.
Unstoppable.
Alright, so what did you hear? How many of the 3 sounds were used in the clip? The answer is all 3. If you got that right, nice job. But there's something else that I didn't tell you. The audio you were listening to and the video you were watching were from completely different games. Now, if you didn't notice that, then what does that say about the clarity of the audio in League? To me, it really showcases that things can sound muddy and unclear in this game when there's a lot going on. And I think this is largely because League of Legends has not implemented a dynamic mix. Dynamic mix is just a fancy way of saying a mix that changes depending on what's happening in the game. And this is really strange because every other AAA game I can think of has one. Even a lot of indie games have them. It's really
Marshall, you fool. Just because Leagues of Legends can sound muddy in team fights doesn't mean it has no dynamic mix. How dare you jump to conclusions about my favorite game League of Legends? I will end this show. I will destroy you.
Fine. If you still don't believe me after the listening challenge, then check this other example out. Have you ever paid attention to the footsteps in League? Listen closely and see if you notice anything.
Black and blue, and is about to show you the definition of pain.
That's right, there are none. And the reason why all comes back to the dynamic mix question. Because they have no way of lowering footstep volume when more important stuff plays, like abilities or auto attacks, they've just chosen to remove them completely. It's not like making footsteps would be particularly hard. The devs just have no way of making room for them. Having footsteps on top of everything else would make the muddiness problem I was showing in the listening challenge exponentially worse. There's no other good reason I can think of to leave something as basic as footsteps out of your game. Alright, now let me show you some of the really incredible things that could happen in League of Legends if they decided to implement a dynamic mix. Healing spells from your support could be louder when your health is getting low. You could make ultimate abilities duck the sounds of minor abilities for more clarity in teamfights. You could increase an enemy champion's volume depending on how much damage they've done to you in the last few seconds. You could also afford to give all the champions footstep sounds because you'd have the ability to duck them when they aren't that important. I'm sure there are plenty more useful things you could think of as well. I could go on all day, but you get the point. I'm someone who really pays attention to the sound for information in a game, and I think the vast majority of League players are as well, even if they don't realize it.
Oh, I heard something. There's a player!
Now I understand that this comparison may not be the best because they're completely different games, but I'd love to see the League sound design team shoot for a goal similar to that of Overwatch.
I want to be able to play the game practically with the monitor turned off. You know, we would of course never be able to do that, but his point was that he wanted so much information to be encoded in the sound, you could, you know, gather information about what's going on around you.
Audio is half the experience in a game. We as players should expect and demand that it give us as much information as the visual does. Now, I don't want to make this whole video a criticism of League. There really are some things that I think League's audio team does better than anyone else. One of those things is their ability to create distinct characterization. When you listen to a champion's ability sounds, each sound feels like it's part of the same set, and that set is part of that character. Most people take that for granted, but it's a really hard thing to achieve in sound design, and they do a great job. Also, League's audio team just does hands down some of the coolest sound effect design I've ever heard. I mean, just listen to these.
Will take some getting used to.
Everything is tight, clean, and distinct, which is really what makes the game feel responsive and fun. So, does League of Legends sound good? I think the best answer I can give to this question is this horrible cheeseburger analogy. League's sound design is like a pile of delicious cheeseburger ingredients, but in the wrong order. Patty on the outside, bread in the middle. Sure, it tastes great, but it could be much better if it was just rearranged a little bit. Thanks for watching, guys. I have an announcement this week. I just launched the Waveform Patreon page. Head over to my launch video on this channel to see the sweet rewards I have in store for you guys, and consider supporting the channel if you like the show. The first 10 Patreon supporters will receive handwritten thank you letters from yours truly. Also, hit me up on Twitter if you have any games you'd like to see in the next episode of Waveform. Until next time.